So I'm Brian Lambert with Barbizon. I'm going to be training you today on this color source console and the color source relay. So let's get a little closer so that we can all see it.
Sure. Break the tripod. It's all right. Go for it.
Alrighty. So this is the layout of the color source console. There's a little LCD here. There's a few buttons down here that correspond to these tabs here. And there's a whole bunch of faders and buttons over here that are numbered. I've kind of laid this out already in the space. You have 8 alt-in lights that change colors. If we go ahead and select them all, we can turn them on. And you can see we're controlling all the lights. 2 of them are green. Alright, so this is laid out. Anything that's selected in green here is something that you've selected. You can click off and select a single light. So if we only wanted to control these 2, say, we can just select those 2 lights, and the level for the light is over here. So this is how bright it will get. And it should be those 2 lights over there.
One's in the sunlight.
Yeah. It's very hard to see because yeah. Now, we turn on those 2 lights and say we wanted to put them in a certain color or something like that. You can always click here to this color on the bottom. You can also select it by clicking this button here. You will also select the color. We have a few selects here to change the color and put it into the correct thing. Or you can click up here and actually pick a color you want. So we'll put those in whatever that is. Then when we want to go back to the main screen, we have a little bit of a screen here down here that you can also select a few things if you need to. Or you can go back to the main one so you can see it in a bigger picture. Now we've selected these 4 lights. I'm going to actually let you do a little bit of it. Set it to a level and set it to a color.
Look at that, you're a pro.
So this one right here, where the power button is, that's the one you want to select. You can this is also a complete touchscreen, so you can also select it that way. Okay, so those are now in a color. Now, we want to save this, because this is the look. We love this look. We're going to come back to this look every single day. So what we do want to do is if we click record over here, we can record a certain thing. What you're probably going to do is you're going to record a whole bunch of playbacks over here. So what we'll do is we'll select one, and that's recorded this, and you see how it turned from that greenish color to a purpley color or pinkish color. Yes. So if we go over here to clear, this is how you would clear out your show. It's going to say clear all. That'll take everything out. But if we go back there, I can show you a few other things. There's playbacks, so we'll clear all the playbacks that are running right now. There's cues, which we'll go into in a little bit. Channels will only clear out whatever channel information there is. And selection will only clear out whatever you have selected at that current moment. So now we can pull this up, and you have your look again.
That's great.
Which is great. And it's also proportional. So when you're recording it, I usually say try to record it a little bit brighter than you think you want.
Okay.
In this space, there's so many windows that might be hard during the day.
Great.
But you can see here, this also corresponds and kind of fades down colors. So it's kind of nice. You can also, if you just want to do a bump effect, I can bump this on or off in time. Yeah. So if you want to record one more so that you know how to do it. So, yeah. Oh, you're way better at that than me.
So we'll do.
So they're still in the same color because I thought I closed that, but
So just do
Yeah.
this. home, record, playback.
Yes, you can do that as well. It's going to ask you for a number. So this is the other way to record. You can put in text, so if you want to give it some name or something,
Okay.
and a time. So we can go back. We'll go into about like what the time stuff is, but for now, just select over here.
Just do 2.
2. Perfect. And just make sure it changes the color. If
Right.
it doesn't change the color, it hasn't taken it.
So if I hit 1,
It's currently stuck in this, so you're just gonna go clear all, so it all goes out.
so it's got to be neutral before I can.
Yeah, it's
Mess with it.
whatever is currently selected is probably gonna be what it is. Yeah, and then click 2, you'll see your beautiful blue.
Nice. And I gotta up it.
If you up it like that, it's gonna take control.
Ah.
So you could do like this, and then bump this, and then those will bump on as well.
Oh, cool.
On top of them.
Nice.
But since you had these at full, it will. Oh, well, I did work this out. It will just overlay because
Okay.
there's just little diodes in there. So
Right.
if they can turn on, they can. If
Okay.
they can't, playback. And also, so there's a few other selection things over here. If we go up to controls, we can select what screen we're also looking at, which is kind of what we were doing down here. So we were going here, going here to our main screen, our grid. You can go to the color selector this way. You can go quick selects. So quick select is a quick way to select a whole group of things. Kind of set it up so that so those two will be together, the middle ones and the ones over there. So if you can see these boxes here, the little gray boxes, those are what the quick selects are. So all you have to do is click there and it selects both of those automatically. And then these, or those, and then you can unselect them like that.
Nice.
You can also still go in and select them like this if you need to. Playback. So we've recorded these playbacks, right? And we can click it, and it actually plays it back in time. So we have set it for 1 second. Let's see.
Is that how fast it's brought up?
Yeah. So if we go here. Another key thing to make sure that you're paying attention to is basically these correspond to the master levels of playbacks and things. So just make sure these are always up, because if I bring this down, your playback isn't going to be playing. So we generally just say just leave all those out all the time. So bumps was what I was talking about before. Just click it. We're not on that screen right now, but cues we'll go into in a second, and then crossfade is with cues. So we're in the playback structure, and you can actually select them and come up in time if you wanted to. Another way to do that is cues. We don't have cues right now. But say we wanted to record this as a cue, the same look. We can record this as cue 1, right? And we have some of the same options. So this is the number of the cue. This is its name. So if we wanted to call it training. Select here. Different time. And logo way. So store that. So now we have this thing that is recorded, just a cue that's training. And this is a good way to play back your options. So this is kind of like, let's just clear everything. So like, it's kind of like the playback, except you can kind of make a cue-less structure so that you can make multiple cues at once. On top here we have the cue, which is the number. And it will go in sequential order. So like if you have 1, then it goes 2. So if you try to record a 1 that you want before, you can do a 0.5 or something like that. In is how long it takes for the light to turn on. Okay. So from whatever its state was before to its new state, that's how long that's going to take. I've set it for 2 seconds. The console thinks in seconds. Out is how long the light will take to go out, or to a lower level. So, for example, if you can have two different things happening at once. So if you have these lights coming up and those lights going down, you could have two different times. So if those take 5 seconds to come up, these can take 1 second to go down, if you wanted to do that. Usually I would probably go the other way.
Right.
I would usually try to make them come up quicker and go down slower. You don't really have enough lights in here to do a lot of that, but usually what I say to do is, a great way to do that is like, someone walks in to the stage, you want to see their face, and then you want your focus to be pulled there, and then this to go out slowly so that your focus isn't pulled back to the lights that are going down.
Cool.
So to play these back, there's a whole button set down here. There's a go button, which is a arrow, looks like a play button, a pause button, and a back button. So if we click play, we're going to go into the queue that we're in, and then that will bring up those lights.
Okay.
If I click play and click pause really quickly, it will flash at me, and we don't have another queue right now, so it's still kind of at that level.
Right.
But if we did have another queue, which I'm going to have you do in 1 second, it would stop midway through. Now, if I click go, it will continue from where it was. That's helpful for, your finger slipped and you hit it by accident, and you need to stop it.
Right.
But you don't want to make it too jarring to go all the way back. So
I'm in trouble with that thing.
so I'm going to let you record a cue now.
Okay.
You can even record the preset here if you want. So if we go to clear, and just clear all for now. Turn this back on, and record that as Q2.
Q.
Yeah, so it autofills in 2.
Okay.
This is your in time, so how long it takes for it to go up to that level.
3.
You don't have to put 0.
Oh.
Autofill is not for you.
Okay. So I'm happy with that. So hit store.
Yes.
Okay. And then
So if we go back to queue list, that's also a way to do it. But you can also, there's a quick select down here.
Oh, nice.
Queue list.
So if I go up here,
You just
or
go
back.
Should be able to go back. Go back. There we go. I just didn't let it load fast enough. So you can go back to the queue that you should also be able to select it, I believe. We're gonna go to that in a second. That's actually the way to do it. But for here, we're in this. We're gonna clear out just so we start from Q1.
Okay.
It should start from whatever it's around, which we're gonna go into navigation of this in a minute. And then if we click go, we should go into the first queue.
Beautiful.
I guess we were selected on the first queue, but now if you go, we'll go back to the first queue because it kind of goes in around in a circle. And if you actually click this button, it's actually a little quicker.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Ah.
So it took 3 seconds for it to come up, but 1 second for those levels to go down.
Cool. And it won't go
You don't
until
wanna
I
be
say
here, you don't
go.
have to. You don't have to stick around. You got fire alarm at 11 though.
Okay. So now we have 2 queues, right? And we want to navigate to different queues. So there's this more option up here. These are how you flag things. It just puts a little flag on it. They're not. Don't worry about those. There's a few key things on here. So go to queue out, which will bring you to a 0 queue.
Cool.
It is above the queue stack. And then we have go to queue. And go to queue is how you go to a specific queue. So if we want to go to queue 1, click enter. We're going to go into that queue. And then say we want to go to queue 2, we can now go into queue 2. Queue out, or 0, and it brings us out of all of that.
Cool.
Does that all make sense so far?
Oh yeah.
Great. So I mean, so quick flicks. I'll go over effects really quickly. There's a keypad here, so if you want to actually type in the numbers, which for your space you don't really have a lot of lights, so there's not really a need to do that, I think. But you could type in 1. Each of these numbers has a specific number to them.
Okay.
Which you can see here. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are the channel numbers. Those are how you select those.
Okay.
So if you go here and go to keypad, click 1 through 8 at 30, would make it at 30%, which is kind of low because we can't really see it.
Can't tell, but
50.
There we go.
So that's half of the light intensity out of 0 to 100. So that's another way to just type in the numbers. Effects. So you can select things and actually put effects, like a rainbow effect if you wanted. It's gonna go through them. Turn it up so we can actually see it. Should be doing it. Oh, it's doing it slowly. So there's other things here. So if we just go down to speed. Oop, I went in the wrong direction.
Whoa.
It might be a little but you can kind of play with these, but this is the one I kind of try to show you. That I like.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So they're all working together because I have them all selected right now. And you can actually see it live on the screen. I mean, it's not perfectly color matched, but you can kind of see it. So you can click here, it'll do something. And this right here is the speed, and you pull this up or down depending on how fast you choose it.
This guy might be having epilepsy over there.
So then you pull it down for the speed. The depth is how, like the speed is how fast it goes, and the depth is like color bound, like the between 250. So it's binary numbers, 0 and 250, and that's kind of like the color palette style. So like if I want it to be a little less washy of colors, I've turned it down way too far. It'll bring it down in level wise. So these two don't really deal with too much. You can if you want to start playing around with these and figuring them out. But there's color palettes, which is
This thing's awesome. Sorry, continue.
so yeah. So these can be
Having
these
fun.
can be recorded into presets, or sorry, playback or cues. So you just put it into that live, and you
So if I were to go like, I'm really digging the rainbow, and I like it at this speed. Record. Playback?
and then the playbacks are over here. And then if you click over here,
Where did it go under?
3. So let's clear that out. All. And
cool.
I believe
Yeah, it's really cool.
with effects on here, this will change the level. It'll change the level of the intensity as well as the speed of the effect.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So just note that when you're doing it. If I bring this down, it should slow it down a little bit.
Nice. Sorry, continue.
Yes. So lastly, and I leave this for, well, it's not, 2 more things on the console. Then we'll go into the relays, which that's gonna be real quick. Patch. Oh, there's settings too. So settings, there's a few basic things here. Times. So these are your generic times for things that go there. Don't worry about that. If you want to erase everything that you have on the console, you can. It's pretty much set up though, so you can delete these individually. Right. But patch is already set up, but we can turn it on. But these here are how you would change what lights you put up. So if you put up new lights, you have to come into this screen. And in here, we can assign a channel and a DMX address. Now, think of the channel as a number that makes things the way you want as a designer or like in the space. And the DMX address is what the actual fixture has.
Okay.
So those numbers up there go 1 through 4, 11 through 14, 21. So that one over there is assigned to 1. This one's assigned to 11. Say you come in and you have one that's assigned to, you want to 9. You can actually just type up here, type 9, and you can select your fixture type. So whatever it's come in, these are Altman units.
Okay.
You would select, say you had an AC lighting, an MLED, and it was in that mode. You would click accept, and it would go into there.
Okay.
And then you have full control over it?
Yeah.
Wow.
And we've actually just assigned out the same number. So this is the universe, which is, you only have one universe here, so just always leave that in 1. DMX number, so it's between 1 and 512.
Okay.
So let's say 250.
Wow.
And it will auto assign how much it needs. Right? Oops, that is not what I wanted to do. Let's go back. Undo. There's an undo button there, which hopefully did what I wanted it to do. So great. 1, 2, make sure we're actually controlling stuff. Oh, I undid the whole light. But there will be a light, and it will pop on. I can make another one. Add device. That's what I forgot to do. Add device is what you have to click. Totally forgot to say that. Then AC lighting, LED torch, that mode. Okay. So I've added all these settings. Oh, it gives me a red error saying, I already have that DMX address, right? So you can assign it to something else and just make sure it corresponds to what's in the space. Oop, that's already assigned. Right? Right there. So you saw the little quick select there. You can remove this device or add something else in here. So if I click here, you'll see the number that's popped up over here, right? So if I hold that down, it'll pop up with this grid. And I can actually move these around on this grid, like so. And now it's selected, like that. That's kind of what I did when I first set this up. So if you do decide that you want these in different places, you can always hold this down and move it over.
Okay.
Maybe. So, and then we're like, oh, we don't have that light anymore. We got rid of it. We can click it, we can click remove, and it's gone forever.
Nice.
Like you saw me do before, there's a undo button here. So just keep that in mind, that it will undo the last thing you did, but only the last thing. If you click here, actually I think it's up here. There is a question mark up here that will always give you any information you need on the console. So if you have a question about the console, you can always click this question mark up here and find some more information about something. So if I select a button, I'm like, I want to know more about that. I want to know more about color picking. You can select that, and it'll be great. And it'll be like, oh, what does that do? What does that do? And it will better explain all those things. When you first start up the console, there is a, there's another way to get to it, but I don't. There is a video structure. There's a whole bunch of videos on there. So if you want to actually go more in depth into it, you can actually watch those videos. They're also on YouTube, so you don't have to do it from the console. Which I can turn it off and show you how to do. So, before I turn it off, I'm just going to go over the transmitter here. This is the transmitter that relays the message up to those receivers up to it. Each pipe has its own receiver. So this actually has to be plugged in to the console to operate. And these are set to 1. So just make sure that this number corresponds to what those numbers are, and because those are all 1, you want to make sure this one's also set to 1. So if some student comes in and starts playing with this dial, just make sure it's set back to 1.
Okay.
So if your lights aren't working, this is probably where I would start, and just make sure that that is still set to 1. Another thing is power, so you have to plug it in, and DMX. So DMX, if I unplug this, that's gonna go away, and it's gonna start flashing at me, saying, hey, I don't see DMX, what's happening? Is your console off? Is something happening? So that's a good indicator of, uh-oh, is this cable not